Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome today to 1 Samuel chapter 10. And we get to see some of what we've been talking about the last day or two, about Saul anointed as the first king of Israel. And you know, this is what the people wanted. It's, they didn't want God. They wanted to be like everybody else. So God is giving them what they wanted. So here we see in this chapter, we see how Saul is anointed king. And then after he is anointed, he is proclaimed king. Proclaimed to the people. And I want to go ahead and just pull out a couple verses, 3 different verses, and talk about them for a quick moment. And so we're going to start in verse 6. It says, "Then the Spirit of the Lord will come upon you." And this is Samuel speaking to Saul. He says, "Then the Spirit of the Lord will come upon you, and you will prophesy with them and be turned into another man." You see, Saul didn't go to school to learn how to be a king. His daddy wasn't a king and brought him up that way. He had absolutely zero qualifications at this point. From what I see, from what we've read these past few days, he didn't have the qualifications to be king. But we see here that doesn't matter to God. You see, God had a calling for Saul, and God qualifies him. You see, we see here that God changes him into another man. You see, you may have a calling on your life, but you might say, "But I never went to school for this," or you know what? And you know what? I don't have a pastor's license. I don't have this. I don't have that. I'm not this. I'm not that. That doesn't matter to God. You see, our calling can be an occupation. It can be a place. It can be one of the fivefold ministry in the Bible. Your calling can be lots of things. And God is the one who will qualify you. Not a degree, not a training, not another man. God is the one who does this and changes you into who you need to be. You see, then we see that God has qualified him. God has turned him into the man he needs to be. So then let's jump down to 24. "And Samuel said to all the people, 'Do you see him who the Lord has chosen? That there is no one like him among all the people.' So all the people shouted and said, 'Long live the king.'" You see, when God qualifies you and when God puts you and is putting you where he needs you to be and he wants you to be, some people will accept it, which is great. And they get right behind him and say, "Long live the king," and they support him and they do all these great things. Let's jump down to verse 27. It says, "But some rebels said, 'How can this man save us?' So they despised him and brought him no presents. But he held his peace." You see, when you step into the life that God has for you, when you are going after it totally, some are going to get behind and support you, and some are not. Some are going to despise you. Some are not going to help you at all, and they're going to watch you and hope that you fail. That is a part of walking out our calling. Now, I look back at my life over. I mean, there are guys that I grew up with that I knew for 20 years. We've laughed and cried, and we've just been through a lot together. And I'm chasing the calling on my life. And a couple of them support me. And they pray for me. And a couple of them don't. They call me a jokester. They say it's fake and a hypocrite and all this stuff. And, I really can't focus on that stuff. I have to focus on what the Lord has put in front of me. And Saul does the same thing. He says, but he held his peace. You see, he just focuses on what the Lord has in front of him. And for you today, just focus on God. Hey, you might get help from somebody, you might not. But God is the one with the answers. God is the one with the calling. God is the one with the provision. Keep that relationship with him strong and pure. And fulfill every last piece of the destiny he has for your life. Have a super day. I love you all.